Think about this. At any one time, Multnomah County Sheriff's detectives handle 40 to 50 cold cases. Later this summer will mark another year past in one of the most mysterious, the murder of Army reservist Charlie Richards.
Yeah, this case from the early 90s stretched from Portland to the Sandy River Delta. What happened remains a giant question mark here in 2025. Todd Unger joins us with details about this case. Todd?
Yeah, Jeff, Liz, sometimes cold case investigators have a pretty good idea of who's behind a crime, even if they can't ever officially prove it. That's not the case with this brutal killing. And all these years later, that's not any easier for the victim's family to accept.
1,000 acres is a stretch of wooded riverfront filled with trails and nature. It looks much today like it did in 1992 when a bow hunter stumbled upon a young man's body.
It's definitely a mystery.
Multnomah County Detective Tamari Johnson and her colleagues are still at it.
Some lab reports as well.
Still trying to figure out who killed Charlie Richards and why.
If the same scenario were time warped forward, we would have a lot more leads generated from ring cameras, Nest cameras, people taking cell phone videos.
None of that existed in August of '92, when 24-year-old Charlie left the Portland VA one evening where he was working as a cook. From there, detectives don't really know what unfolded, only that a witness reported seeing two men in Charlie's truck later that same night after a fender bender downtown.
Who is this other person in the car, right?
Right.
So that would be a person of interest for sure.
A few days later, Charlie's truck was found in southeast Portland, and a couple weeks later, Charlie was found.
It's all speculation. We don't know if he stumbled across a drug deal and somehow they didn't want him to see what he saw.
Don Jameson will never forget learning his kid brother had been stabbed to death. Who would want to hurt the popular young man from Vancouver who enlisted on his own and served in the military police?
It was kind of a troubling time for all of us. Nobody had any insight to that particular night. So it is one of the question marks.
Investigators worked the case hard initially. It was big news in the Portland metro.
It's about 17 miles from southwest Portland to 1,000 acres. It's right along of I-84, so freeway. It would take you about 20 minutes and no traffic to drive from southwest Portland to 1,000 acres. It's unusual.
The pickup was dusted for fingerprints and some other evidence was collected, but it didn't lead to much of anything, leading detectives today to reanalyze every inch of the case.
There's cameras everywhere. It's almost impossible to get away with a crime these days because somebody's going to capture something, some sort of a clue, and that wasn't available back in the day.
Charlie's brother knows it'll take a big break, likely a confession or DNA breakthrough, to answer anything. 396 agonizing months later, he won't stop pushing for those answers because it's what brothers do.
Hear something or see something and click in their minds and lead to another clue and hopefully solve the case one day. That's my ultimate hope.
The other person in the truck the night Charlie vanished was never ID'd and never did come forward. Investigators say at some point, if they can get a grant, perhaps there's a chance some of that other evidence collected from the truck could be further analyzed for DNA or something like that. Jeff?
You know, that detective said something that we forget about. There were no cell phones or cameras back then.
Nope.
That technology solves so many cases now.
It
A surveillance video.
It does.
A camera. We can pinpoint a ping on your cell phone. None of that existed when Charlie disappeared.
No, and that's why all this time later, still a huge mystery.
All right, Todd, thank you.